want to welcome everyone to a very special edition of State Champs at the State Championships. This is the 2018 version of the Volleyball State Finals. I'm Kiara Hay.
And I'm Lauren Plant. Long-form highlights of all four divisions coming at you. Plus, two members of the State Champs journalism crew who were on hand at the finals will give us their perspective on what they witnessed in the Cereal City. Matt Mallory and Dan Stickrat will each give us their insight throughout the program.
That's right, and what was always known as classes is now divisions. To Battle Creek we go for the highlights, and we start with Gabe O'Neill with Division 4.
Mendon looking to win its first state title since 2001. They took down Southfield Christian in the semifinals to get here. As for Leland, they look for their second state title in the last 3 years. And we pick things up in the first game. Following a good rally, Ella Sadal gets it to the sophomore Sarah Elwell, who gets it to go for the winner. The number one ranked Comets were out to an early lead. Mendon, ranked second in the state going into the D4 playoffs, would respond. Senior setter Aubrey Krotzer gets it over to the sophomore Anna Smith, whose spike is too much to handle. And then the Comets would start to take control in the first game. It's Smith at the right place in front of the net for the winner. Later in the opening game, following a nice dig by the senior Amaja Bailey, Andrea Hoffman with the feed over to Smith, who slams another point for the Comets. Then with the score at 24-16, Mendon looking to take the opening set. And it's Smith right in front of the net again to tap it home as the Comets go on to take game one. After a back and forth start to the second game, the Comets look to seize control. Following a good rally, it's Krotzer finding a soft spot to drop it in for the point. Mendon looking to take the 2-0 lead. And they would get it right here. Smith with the power spike, Leland with the dig, but the senior Sierra Nightingale is there for the winner. The Comets go on to take a 2-0 lead, and they would start to pull away in game three. The sophomore Smith was on her game in this one, here slamming down her game-high 18th kill. Smith would then finish it off by getting the ace to clinch it. As Mendon goes on to sweep Leland in 3 games to capture its first state title in 17 years.
Feels amazing. It's really relieving to get this far and come out with a state championship. It's just, I'm at a loss for words. It's so amazing.
I've been chasing after this feeling for a long time, and finally have it. Feels great.
These girls had all the puzzle pieces. They did. They just needed to put them together. So having a wonderful coaching staff to help me out and all the support I could need, it was easy for all of us to kind of put the puzzle pieces together. They had it in them all along.
Okay, to talk about what we just witnessed is State Champs senior editor and volleyball enthusiast. Fair statement?
Fair.
Okay, all right. He is Matt Mallory. Leland and Mendon, number 1 and 2 in the state. So no surprise they met for the state championship. Mendon came down from what was in Class C or Division 3. They lost in the district final last year in Class C to the eventual state champion Bronson. This year in Division 4, despite not being top ranked, I think they felt all season that this was going to be the year they win the school's first state title in 17 years.
Yeah, and even though they had a first-year coach, this is one of we saw that in a couple of the divisions where the move from classes to divisions really helped out a school because Mendon was one of the smallest C schools, and again, like you said, they ran up against Bronson year after year, and now being in Division 4, that's a whole different playing field, and they certainly had their sights set on this championship. It was a team that you kind of figured, even though they were not ranked number 1, certainly had every bit as good a chance as anybody in the division to win it.
Well, you know, it's one of those things that they felt so bad from last year. They seemed really focused and committed, and from everything they said afterwards, they really put in the time. And it showed. Yeah,
it was one of those where they were focused on this from the very start, and their coach actually played in the Mendon system, and the Mendon system has been, one of those perennial C or D powerhouses for years, and so for them to go out that early was kind of one of those wake-up calls that they really focused on for the entire offseason. You could tell that they had one goal in mind for this entire season.
Yep, they were very emotional. Spent left it on the floor. Congratulations to them. Okay, we go to Division 3. Kiara Hayes got the highlights.
The Bronson faithful fired up as the Vikings were looking to win its 4th straight volleyball state title. They took down the top-ranked Monroe St. Mary Catholic Central in the semifinal to get to the championship game. As for the Unionville Seba Wing, they were making its first appearance in the state final. They took care of Traverse City St. Francis to get here. We picked things up midway through the first game. Bronson holding on to a 4-point lead. Following a good rally, sophomore setter Megan Latsky drops it over, and the Patriots can't get a hold of the ball. Point goes to Bronson. USA winners of the Greater Thumb Conference during the regular season would respond. Nicole Schember with the feed to Grace Williamson, and the sophomore gets it down for the winner. But the Vikings would be too much in the opening game. It would be the senior, Jolie Smoker, smoking it for the kill as Bronson goes on to win Game 1, 25-19. We go to the latter part of the second game, with Bronson leading 18-16. Following a good rally, it would be the 6'1" junior Kiana Salesman who came in with 707 kills after the regional, setting that kill for the Vikings. More from Bronson. It's Smoker once again with the slam down the line for the winner. She had 13 kills on the afternoon. Now with USA trailing 24-17, they were looking for any momentum. It will be the sophomore Bryn Polega with the serve that goes down. Patriots now down 5 at 24-19. But the three-time defending state champs Bronson would prevail in Game 2. Following another good rally, it's the junior Salesman once again with the blast for the win. Vikings now take a 2-0 lead. Bronson looking for that clean sweep in the third game. It's the senior Ashton Ronikowski with the blast. But Unionville Seba Wing wasn't giving up. The senior Riley Zimmer with the winner. The game was knotted up at 20. USA would get the lead at 22-21. Bronson comes right back. It's Salesman out of the game, back up at 22. They would gain the lead on the next play as Alana Mayer with the dish to Salesman. Vikings now up 23-22. After the Patriot ties it up at 23, Bronson once again goes to Salesman, and the Patriots can't get to it. Vikings back up 1 at 24-23. And they would finish it off here on match point. As Bronson goes on to sweep USA in 3 games to capture its 4th straight state title.
It just means a lot winning, coming out here with these girls and playing our hardest, practicing every day, all the time. In the summer, putting in countless hours. It just means a lot to come out here and play the last match that I can play.
Congratulations to Bronson Vikings, the 2018 MHSAA Division III Volleyball champion.
I think it's something that's really special. Like coming in here with this group of girls, words can't describe how sad I am, how happy I am to be here with all of them. It's an amazing experience.
This group of seniors had parents that when they were in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade had these kids out playing. They were playing basketball, they were playing volleyball, they were playing in club tournaments. This group of seniors were playing, and some of the juniors were playing a lot, and that makes a huge difference. I mean, if your kids aren't going to put some time into the sport, they're not going to have the success that this group of seniors has had.
Thanks, Kara. Dan Stickrad is a longtime writer for both State Champs and other publications and websites, including his own NorthOaklandSports.com. He's a jack of all trades. Dan, how are you?
Doing great.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right, I'm glad you're here. Haircut looks good. All right, let's talk about Division III. So Unionville, Seba Wing, and Bronson meeting. We saw crazy upsets in the semifinals, and even though Bronson was going for a 4th straight state title, knocking off this season's #1 and 5-time former state champs Monroe St. Mary Catholic Central was a real surprise, especially the way they did it in comeback fashion.
Absolutely, but Bronson's one of those teams where they are a model of consistency. 5 titles in 10 years, and to win 4 straight, it's only been done 5 other times in state history. Battle Creek St. Philip most recently has done it twice in the last 20 years, but Bronson, you know, they got past there and they're playing a first-time finalist in the USA and posted a sweep. Just a dominating effort down the last 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, Bronson, the 4th program in total in MHSAA history to 4P, and you have to give USA credit because they did fight hard. But you know, again, like you said, Bronson is one of these teams. Do you see this run ending?
It's hard to say. I mean,
yeah.
there was a lot of teams that had never been to a Final Four that were there this year. And their coach, Jean Leclerc, talked about it. Some parents came up to him after last year and were talking about, where are we going to put the banners? Where are we going to put the team photos on the wall? And she was trying to say, this doesn't happen very easily. Yeah. Very fortunate. I mean, she mentioned that they may never get back to the Final Four. There's no guarantees in high school sports.
Right, that's true. Dan will be back to talk about Division I, but first we go to Mike Gerlitis from Battle Creek for Division II.
Thanks, Lauren. Some great storylines here in Division II. We already know Miss Volleyball suits up for the defending state champs of Notre Dame Prep. They're going to be a tough one to beat. But when this season ended, the #1 team ranked in Division II was not the Irish. It was Grand Rapids Christian. Time to find out how this one turned out. Pontiac Notre Dame Prep going for its second straight title, coming in at 64-5. As for Grand Rapids Christian, coming off a semifinal win over Lake Odessa Lakewood, the Eagles looking to claim its first ever volleyball state title. And we picked this game up in the early stages of the first game. Nice dig by Notre Dame Prep's Maria Famularo, but Christian junior Ava Koistra is there in front to tap it home for the winner. More from the Eagles. Junior setter Jordan Gates feeds it over to the senior outside hitter Maria Boss, who puts it home for the spike. Eagles up 15-13. Notre Dame Prep keeping it close in game one. Freshman setter Allie Borelis with the quick feed to the senior Natalie Risi for one of her 14 kills into the corner. But the Eagles would be too much in the opening game. Gates with the dish to Koistra, who gets it to go to clinch game one, 25-19. Notre Dame Prep trying to even it up in the second game. Maddie Chin, the recently named Miss Volleyball in the state of Michigan, the Purdue recruit, gets the rejection on the Christian spike attempt. But GR Christian had the answers. Following a good rally, the duo of Gates and Boss would strike again for another kill. That put the Eagles up 21-16. And it would be Boss getting the ace to give the Eagles a 2-0 lead over the defending state champs. But Notre Dame Prep wasn't going down without a fight. Famularo gets it over to Chin, who just gets it in for the winner. The senior had a team-high 17 kills in her final high school game.
I believe that we will win! I believe that we will win! I believe that we will win! I believe that we will win!
And it would be too much Christian on this day. On match point, it would be Boss that clinch it for the Eagles. As Grand Rapids Christian sweeps Notre Dame Prep in 3 games to claim its first volleyball state title in school history.
It's honestly so unreal right now. It's never happened in the history of Grand Rapids Christian volleyball, and I think just from the moment we found out our team, that was the goal from day one. It's not necessarily how many sets it takes to win. Who knows? That could have gone to 5. It could have been 15-13 in the 5th set, and I think our team, just with the mindset all year, has just been, no matter what it takes, we're going home with the ring. We're leaving a mark on this program no matter what. And I just think, I'm just so proud of everyone on the team today, just really sticking to what we said at the beginning of the year.
Congratulations to the Grand Rapids Christian Eagles. The 2018 MHSAA Division II Girls Volleyball Champions.
There's really nothing like it. I've been doing this for 13 years and I've come close, but to be able to not only win, but win in the way we did is an amazing feeling.
It feels surreal. I have so much joy running through my body right now, so much joy for my coach, my teammates, everyone that supported us throughout the entire season. We had a goal from the start, from day one, preseason, and we made it happen, and just it doesn't feel real right now. It feels amazing.
Congratulations once again to Grand Rapids Christian. I'm Mike Gerlitis.
All right, thanks, Mike. Matt Mallory back in the chair. We were all looking forward to Grand Rapids Christian and Pontiac Notre Dame Prep. NDP, the defending state champs, Miss Volleyball, Maddie Chin repping the Irish, but that's why they play the game.
You do not win these on paper.
No, you don't. Grand Rapids Christian, the #1 ranked team coming in, but competing in their first finals. They beat last year's runner-up Lake Odessa Lakewood in the semis. Notre Dame Prep riding a 54-game winning streak, but GR Christian are your state champs, not just winning, but sweeping.
A sweep. That does not happen to Notre Dame Prep very often. And this was one, as we talked earlier, that moving from classes to divisions this year really helped out a team in that Grand Rapids Christian had been one of the smallest A schools, and they're in an area that is packed with volleyball powerhouses. And Jordan Gates, one of the players on the team, said after the semifinal win that part of their problem last year was that they were so focused on getting past Rockford that once they got past Rockford, they kind of went, oh, what do we do now? And this year it was a different mindset for them. They were taking each game, each match one at a time, and you could tell they were very methodical about things. And this was kind of one of those years where they figured, this is perfect for us. Moving down to Division II, getting with schools that are the same size as them, and they went wire to wire, and it was one of those, as you said, in the finals. That was an impressive performance to shut down not one Miss Volleyball candidate, but two that Notre Dame has, and to do it that convincingly made a statement.
And we see this across all sports where you have teams that are just on the fringe of maybe being in a higher division, a really tough, large school division. When they're available to come down, that playing field seems more leveled, and there they go.
And Notre Dame Prep coach Betty Rubel said that even after the semifinal match, that looking ahead at Grand Rapids Christian and having that scenario, that they kind of figured that was their year, and Notre Dame Prep kind of figured that it might be their year to repeat. But that was a squad that even though they had those seniors and those stars, was still very young on the backside. So she was of the opinion that they were almost kind of overrated all season long, that they'd just done very well because they were carried so much by that entire senior class that they have, that they're now going to be missing for the next couple of seasons.
There you go. Thank you for joining us, Matt Mallory. Please follow Matt on Twitter at Matthew B. Mallory and read all the work he does for us at statechampsnetwork.com. We're going to have him back one more time at the end of the show to discuss a little controversy that took place over the weekend, so stay with us. One more division to get to. My pleasure to call the highlights in Division I. Division I, a rematch of the 2011 finale between Rockford and Lake Orion. Rams went on to sweep the Dragons that year. Rockford came in defeating Northville in the semis. Lake Orion won in a 5-set battle over favorite Farmington Hills Mercy to get here. We picked things up midway through the first game. Rockford trailing. Emily Carels gets it to Claire Phillips. The junior puts it in the corner for the winner. Back came the 67-win Dragons. Senior setter Ren McCauley with the dish to Kendall Robertson, one of her 6 kills on the afternoon. Lake Orion now leading 21-15. More from the Dragon attack. Following a good rally, McCauley sends it over to Paige Briggs, who had a team-high 679 kills after the regionals. That's too hot to handle. Rockford trying to make a comeback and cut into the deficit. Carels, the deal to Emmy Webb. She gets the winner. But Lake Orion responded on the next play. Briggs once again with authority. Game 1 clinched right here. Briggs laying it down, her 7th kill to start the match. Lake Orion takes the first, 25-18. We had a seesaw affair, back and forth. Second game, the duo of McCauley and Briggs hooking up again for the winner. Rockford would retort. Carels will pass it over to Lindsay Taylor. Her spike, too much sizzle. Rams down 22-21. Lake Orion looking to get back that 2-point advantage on the next play. Another good rally. McCauley to Leah Bowes, who comes through. Dragons back up a pair. Rockford wasn't giving up. Lake Orion looking to clinch game 2, up 24-22. Carels to Webb. She gets it to go. Rams back down a digit. But Lake Orion would prevail. They would get the final point. Briggs once again coming through. Dragons take it 25-23 and led 2-0. Rockford not going quietly into that good night. They build a lead into game 3. Another good rally. Carels to Emmy Webb. Money. This was another back and forth tussle. Great rallies all the way around. Check this out. The junior Alyssa Judge slips it by the Lake Orion defenders in front. But Lake Orion, as they've done, made a comeback here with Rockford up 24-23. Carels, 36 assists on the game to Taylor, who gets it to go. Rams take game 3, 25-23. But this afternoon would belong to Lake Orion. McCauley dishing it out here to Olivia Long for the winner. Then, championship point. McCauley, 50 assists on the game. The last one to Briggs, who seals it. Lake Orion beats Rockford in 4 to capture its first ever volleyball state title.
Can't really put it into words. Once that final point hit, I was kind of living and dying there at the end of that fourth set with each point. Like, I couldn't believe we were so close, and when we finally did it, it just was just a surreal moment.
It's honestly the best feeling because this year it didn't end in tears, it ended in just happy, positive, and you can't end a season a better way than winning everything. So it was really nice.
Dan Stickrat back with us as we wrap the volleyball state championships for 2018. Lake Orion beats Farmington Hills Mercy in the semifinals. Absolute shocker. Good for the Dragons. Paige Briggs with 43 kills, and they needed all of them to beat the Marlins in 5 sets. Rockford gets back to the finale for the second time in 3 years as they down Northville. This was a rematch of 2011 when Rockford won. This time, Dragons earned the state hardware in 4 sets.
Yes, and this is an odd stat, but this is the first time that a team from the Oakland Activity Association won a state title in girls volleyball. You look at the resume, that league's 25 years old. It's won titles in every sport except for volleyball. Here they were. They had some injuries. They climbed the rankings. The last month of the season, Lake Orion was on fire. Avenged their league loss to Rochester Stony Creek in the regional finals, and that's when Coach Tony Savardis said, I think we have a chance. This could be a reality. And they get Mercy facing Rockford. And other than a stretch late in Game 3, Lake Orion was clearly the better team.
10 seniors on that roster. Is this something that you think that, 67 wins or whatever they ended up with, is this team ready to continue to move forward with the team they got? You
know, it's funny because in the last 15 years, Lake Orion has been one of those teams that is in the top 20 every year. They had a hard time in recent years getting past Clarkston in the district finals. There were 7 or 8 times in the last 15 years they got knocked out by Clarkston, and ironically, Lake Orion beat Clarkston in the 2011 semis. That was the first time the OAA had 2 teams in the semis at the same time. Yeah. Will they reload next year? Chances are they'll have enough talent to at least be competitive. That's hard when you lose 10 out of 18 kids. When you have 2 Division I players,
like Novi, we saw it with them this year.
Yeah. Paige Briggs, 73 kills in 2 days. In 25 years, that's one of the few players I've ever seen dominate in a Final Four that way.
Absolutely. I do want to ask you one last question, and we're going to talk with Matt Mallory a little bit later, kind of about some of the complaints about the venue and that maybe, it's a little tired now. But one of the things that I know that was surprising to you, and I think surprising to a lot of people, is the lack of attendance. We didn't see, especially for the Division I game, we just didn't see big crowds.
It was a little bit disappointing. I thought the Division III game with Bronson and Unionville Sebeewing had probably the largest attendance of the 4 games. The Rockford side looked like their numbers were down, and Lake Orion and Rockford were not in the football playoffs. They were not in the semis this year, so I'm not sure what the excuse was, but yeah, very disappointing.
Has this been a trend that you think you've seen over the years, or is this just kind of an aberration?
I think this was just one of those years where their attendance was down overall. I haven't seen it like creeping downward in recent years, but it was definitely down this year.
It's one of those debates, and we did a show 10 years ago on when they switched the sports, moving volleyball from the winter to the fall, and with girls basketball. And so it's one of those things I think you can kind of do a deep dive now and analyze all that stuff and see if it truly is working. I think a decade of time is what can be done to see where those 2 sports kind of stand on their own. But definitely disappointing, but still, congratulations to the champions. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we've got Matt Mallory back for one last segment as we wrap up. Farmington Hills Mercy head coach Loretta Vogel excoriated the refereeing, and Lake Orion coach Tony Scarvata kind of agreed with it. They believe they also deserve a nicer venue, so there was a lot of venting going on. This was after the semifinal match. What are your thoughts on the concerns that were raised, because she was not happy?
Well, and first let me make it clear that one of the things that Loretta made sure to do was to compliment Lake Orion on their win and say that that was not the reason Lake Orion won. Lake Orion beat them, and she understood that, but she was not happy with the officiating, and neither coach was, neither team was. It was not well officiated, that particular match. There were some inconsistencies other than that, but that one was the glaring outlier. Throughout the weekend, Having said that, it was kind of even. There were bad calls made against both teams, but the thing that hurts the most is it hurts the flow, it hurts the consistency throughout the game, and if kids are thinking about different things than have been called on them all season long, like one particular call was a 5-second call.
5-second call, right.
Yes, it's a rule, but probably not the right time to have that call.
Right.
It does kind of mess with kids' heads a little bit, and that's the last thing you want to do on a stage like that. The other part of it was brought up by Loretta's son, Andrew, who's been, Andrew Thompson is a longtime assistant at Mercy, and the two of them have been around and seen a lot of stuff. And so I respect the opinions of both of them, and one of the things that Andrew brought up was the difference in venues. And obviously, Kellogg Arena had its heyday and was a very nice arena when it was built, but it's getting older and it's not necessarily it's not a brand new facility, and you compare that to the boys football, they're playing at Ford Field, and boys basketball will play at Breslin, and even girls basketball playing at a newer facility in Calvin. All of these are newer facilities and probably, let's be honest, nicer facilities.
Right.
So that both of them kind of had a point. I think where some people kind of blew back at them a little bit was that, is this the time for the point? But they were valid points that were raised by both coaches.
Right, so do you think at some point there may be a venue change? Do you think that will go to Hart, or I don't know what the contracts are for these. I don't know if it's a year-to-year thing. We were talking off camera. We mentioned maybe Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, and it
set up there.
And it depends, and it's the same thing that they're running into with Breslin, trying to use that for basketball. That it depends on the availability of the venue, and if Eastern or Western, where it was before for years, the volleyball finals, if those venues are not available, then certainly you can't use them. So you almost have to find a venue that you know is going to be vacant or available, and that's one of the things with Kellogg Arena. It almost always is.
Yeah.
So I think there certainly could be at least a revisiting of that in the next few years to see if there's maybe a better way to go.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for your contribution. We thank Dan Stickrat. You can read his recap of the semis and state finals and Matt's recap of the semi and state finals at statechampsnetwork.com.
All right, guys, that's our show. Congratulations to all of our new volleyball state champions. Of course, I'm Kiera Hay.
And I'm Lauren Plant. Thanks for watching.